The Lurker in the Shadows. In the tiny town of Crescent Cove, the days passed quietly, and the nights were filled with the quiet symphony of crickets and rustling leaves. The town was framed by the dense embrace of an ancient forest, a dark crisscross of trees that whispered secrets to those who dared to listen. Local legends spoke of strange sightings, but among them all, none was more infamous than the tale of the Mothman. The Mothman was said to be a creature shrouded in midnight color, with wings that spanned twice the height of a man. It had glowing red eyes that pierced the darkness and an aura of despair that lingered long after it departed. Most townsfolk dismissed the stories as folklore or myths meant to scare children, but to Alex Reed, a curious 16-year-old with a penchant for ghost stories, they held an irresistible allure. One fateful summer evening, Alex's friends, Sarah, Jake, and Mia, gathered at the old park beside the forest to share ghost stories. Much to Alex's delight, the conversation drifted to the Mothman. Supposedly, he appears when something terrible is about to happen, Sarah said, her eyes shining with excitement. Like a warning. Quote, or maybe he's just a big, scary bird, Jake scoffed. You guys are too easily frightened. Quote, Mia, who had been silent thus far, spoke up. My grandma always told me that if you see him, it means you're in for some bad luck. Quote, let's go find him, Alex exclaimed, feeling a thrill run down his spine. The thought of an adventure was too enticing to resist. Are you crazy? Jake laughed. You really want to go into the woods after sunset, looking for a giant monster? Alex grinned, unfazed. Come on, it'll be fun. With some hesitance and a mix of excitement, the group agreed to hike into the woods and scout for the legendary figure. They believed that if they caught a glimpse of the Mothman, they'd have a story that would become the talk of Crescent Cove. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange as they ventured deeper into the forest. The chatter among them faded as the air grew thicker, enveloped in an odd stillness. Alex felt a shiver run down his spine, but he pressed on, eager to discover the truth behind the myths. After wandering for what felt like an eternity, they came upon a clearing. It was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rustle in the bushes, as the group paused to catch their breath. Gently, the wind stirred, and flickering shadows danced along the edges of the trees. Let's rest here for a minute, said Sarah, her voice wavering slightly. It's getting creepy. Quote, as they settled, Alex noticed something unusual in the distance. A towering figure stood amongst the boughs, slightly shrouded in darkness. He squinted, and in that moment, the figure turned, revealing two vibrant red eyes glowing fiercely. Guys, look, Alex's voice trembled, barely above a whisper. The others turned, following his gaze. There it was, the Mothman, a hulking silhouette with wings extending like a dark cloak. The stories rushed back, flooding Alex's mind. The ominous warnings, the despair connected to its sightings. Run, Jake screamed, breaking the silence as he turned and bolted in the opposite direction. Panic erupted. The group scrambled to their feet, fear clawing at their throats, but Alex stayed rooted, mesmerized by the creature before him. A low hum filled the air, resonating through the night, vibrating in the depths of their souls. As the others fled, Alex felt a pull, as though the Mothman was beckoning him. But with a jolt of reality, he tore his gaze away and sprinted after his friends. They didn't stop running until they reached the safety of the park, gasping and panting as they collapsed on the grass. Did that really just happen? Mia breathed, her eyes wide as they glanced into the darkness from which they had emerged. Alex's heart raced as he recounted the encounter, but the excitement was overshadowed by an inexplicable feeling of dread crawling up his spine. The Mothman had not just been a harmless tale after all, it was a warning. Days turned into weeks, and life in Crescent Cove resumed its monotonous rhythm, but a shadow hung over the town. Unexplained accidents began to plague the area. A house fire, a car crash, and even a sudden illness sweeping through the schools. The air buzzed with fear and unease, and whispers about the Mothman resurfaced, weaving through the fearful conversations of the townsfolk. One evening, while sifting through Old Man Harris's diary in the library, Alex stumbled upon chilling entries about sightings of the Mothman. Words of caution and sorrow filled the pages, detailing the unfortunate events that followed each encounter. With a sinking heart, Alex realized, They had ignored the call of the creature. They hadn't understood its warning. As a storm brewed outside, rain thundered against the windows, harmonizing with the panic inside him. He sat in a swirling vortex of worry and unrest, an eerie invitation beckoning from the corners of his mind. Perhaps the Mothman wasn't just a creature, it was a harbinger, a sign that something dark lay ahead for Crescent Cove, and they had awakened it. The night stretched on, darker than before, as Alex vowed to find answers. But deep down, he knew, they had divine knowledge of the impending horrors, but now, all they could do was wait. And in that patient silence, they could only pray that the Mothman's wings would not darken their doors again.